What up, everybody? Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. So I'm still experimenting with the lighting here. What's up, Joe? What's up, Winkle? Yes, we do have a guest this week. I will have more information on that soon. Oh man, all right. People are getting in fast. We got to start the show soon. Good morning, YouTube. I'm experimenting with a little bit of different lighting. And this is all temporary, by the way, because next month I am moving. So I'll be having a new setup at my new apartment. So, we're just rolling with what we got now. And I have two different devices. So it looks different on one than it does on the other. And it looks, no, Pasta will still be around. We're just not going to be living together. All right, we got 33 over on the live me, and we got 36 over on the YouTube. So it's time to start. Let me grab the guitar so I can play the theme for you guys. All right. Together, we'll make it our own. Get your news on with Ron. Wanna know what's going on? Get your news on today. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. I am Ron Placone, your host. And welcome, YouTube. Welcome, Live Me. Good to see everybody. Hope you had a lovely, lovely week. I know I have. I know a lot's going on in the world, too. So let's get right to it. Let me try to do something about... Yeah, okay, there we go. It's a little shadowy. I'm experimenting with different lighting settings, and I haven't quite gotten it right yet. And it's hard to really commit to a lot because this is all temporary. I'm going to be moving apartments in a month, so everything's going to be totally different. No, you can't beam. Let's see here. So we got some articles already. You guys are already kicking in, which is spectacular. Then other people are just tweeting me about other things. So let me try to get to the beginning. All right, we're going to start with something from Marcus. Give it a Get Your News On with Ron retweets. What's up, Jimmy? How are you, buddy? Will the walls still be pink at your new place? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm hoping to have like an actual backdrop. Okay, so this is from over in the UK. Single women get married to trees in a ceremony to save them. Women in Mexico have given up on men and decided to marry trees instead. Their new grooms aren't very talkative, but they are tall, do great things for the planet, and are renowned for their wood. So it's not surprising they are now sought after in today's dating climate. So trees can't consent to marital union, but they do need our protection. The wedding was designed to draw attention to the problem of illegal logging in the San Jacinto Amapals, Oaxaca state. I know I fucking butchered that pronunciation, but yeah, that's the best I can do, totally on the spot. So this is one of the 5 states worst hit by deforestation, and by the marriage, stunt campaigners hope to raise the profile. So the marriage doesn't actually do anything to protect this. Like the marriage doesn't actually do anything to protect the trees, but it's quote unquote raising awareness, I guess. Jesse points out, do I really want the picture of the honeymoon? Horrible, evil, dead memories. If you love it, put a ring on it. I suppose so. I mean, this is nice. This is a nice feel-good story, but it's not actually doing anything as far as, but it's more than nothing, I suppose. I suppose I can't be too judgy because it's certainly more than nothing. So, is there a tree divorce court? Jilly asks. That's a fantastic question. I wish I knew the answer to that. But Blair Witch Project lighting. Dalton, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I don't here. Let's see. Let me try to like, is that better? Yeah, is that sort of like, it's just these shadows are freaking driving me nuts, but it's one of those things I can't really do much about it unless I just sort of, let's see if that does anything. I feel like that makes it a little better, huh? I feel like that. What do you guys think? Yeah, that's definitely, there's still a little bit of shadow, but that's way better on both platforms. That's the thing, man. I'm battling both platforms. Like I have, because I have a camera going for live me, but I think this is a good balance, huh? This is like, and keep in mind, this is all temporary because in a month I'm going to be switching apartments. And once I get into that new apartment, I'm going to be investing in some lighting to cater to the needs there. Melissa points out, this is a whole new level of tree hugging. Good wood is hard to find. Tree lives matter, Ron. Keep working at it, Ron. You can look a little more white. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the enthusiasm. We got some stuff going on over on the Reddit as well. By the way, for anyone just tuning in that might be like, what the hell's going on? This is Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. And what happens is you guys tweet me articles at Ron Placone, and that's how we build this show. I don't have anything pre-planned out in advance. I don't even know what I want to talk about most of the time. I have some ideas on what I want to talk about, but you guys tweet me articles, and that's how the show becomes a show. Also, the lighting is in transition right now because I am moving in a month, and some of you guys had some questions about that, so let me get to those. Kate says, I agree with your girlfriend, no jacket, looks like you're cold. The cold front's kind of ended, so I feel good in my t-shirt now. So yeah, that's all pretty good. Is Lucy moving with you, or is Lucy getting her own place? Lucy will be joining. Yes. Lucy's actually gotten quite attached to my girlfriend, which is great. They're bonding. The reason I'm moving is because me and my girlfriend are moving in together. We decided it was time. So that's why I'm leaving my wonderful house here in Pasadena. I'm staying in the neighborhood, which I'm thrilled about because I like Pasadena a lot. So I'll basically just be moving down the street. So don't worry, Pasta will still be involved. We'll still be doing all this stuff we do now. I'll just be living in a different place at the end of the day. That's all. So yeah. But some other people in the household will miss Lucy, which I understand. But she'll be over to visit, I'm sure. Let's see here. You guys sent, since we're on Lucy, Jesse tweeted this out, and this is an article intended for Lucy. And then, by the way, somebody brought up Levi Sanders, or does he go by Levi? Tweet me an article on that if you would, please. Somebody tweet me an article about levy, and somebody tweet me an article about what's going on with net neutrality, because there's a trending hashtag. Net neutrality is trending right now. One more vote is trending right now. I'd imagine it means they need to get that one more vote for the CRA. But if somebody wants to tweet me an article on that, that would be awesome. In the meantime, this is for Lucy. This is submitted by Jesse. For anyone not in the know, Lucy is my cat, and she's a wonderful cat. South African lions eat poacher. Oh, yeah, I remember this story. Yeah, this story is from a little while ago. I think we actually covered this. But a suspected big cat poacher has been eaten by lions near the Kruger National Park in South Africa. The animals left a little bit behind. So the victim was poaching. Yeah, we covered this already. But just to revisit it, I pointed out the fact that this person is not a victim. This person is a poacher, meaning they kill wild animals for fun, which is evil and twisted, and you should be in jail if you do that. That should be jail. And they ate his body. They left his head and some remains. Yeah, he's not a victim here. He messed with them on their territory, and he lost. So, but we did cover that already. We did a story on it. But it happens. Sometimes some stories are kind of fascinating and interesting, and you tweet them twice, especially when you're thinking of the Lucy. You know, you're like, Lucy, come on. All right, so let's see what else we got. We got some more articles from you guys. Let's go over to the Reddit for a little bit. Oh, wow, this is interesting. So, U.S. Immigration Service quietly removes nation of immigrants from its mission statement. Okay, let's see what this is all about. I've not heard about this. This is my first time hearing. Somebody please tweet me a net neutrality thing and a thing on levy. All right, so let's go to this. Here we go. I'm really slow using Reddit. Some of you guys have sent me videos on how to get better at Reddit, which I appreciate very much. And I'm also embarrassed to say I've not watched those videos yet, and I really, really need to. All right, so here is something that's been going on. Well, that just happened recently. This article is a couple days old. Immigration agency removes nation of immigrants from its mission statement. The United States is a nation of immigrants no longer, at least according to the mission statement from the federal agency that issues green cards and visas. The United States Citizenship and Immigration Services revised its mission statement, and it removed that phrase. This is what Director L. Francis Cisna told staffers in an email. So here's the contrast. I'll read the old and the new one. So here is the old statement from the immigration agency. Here's the old statement. Ready? USCIS secures America's promise as a nation of immigrants by providing accurate and useful information to our customers, granting immigration and citizenship benefits, promoting an awareness and understanding of citizenship, and ensuring the integrity of our immigration system. All right, that's the old statement. Now here's the new one. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services administers the nation's lawful immigration system, safeguarding its integrity and promise by efficiently and fairly adjudicating requests for immigration benefits while protecting Americans, securing the homeland, and honoring our values. Okay. I believe it's simple. Here's their explanation. I believe this simple, straightforward statement clearly defines the agency's role in our country's lawful immigration system and commitment we have to the American people. Yeah, I kind of feel like they're trying to sort of downplay what's going on. This nation, as we know it, at least, was founded on immigration. Of course, those were not the people that were here first. Other people were here first. And what happened to those people is still beyond a travesty. And we don't talk about it, and we're not taught it properly. But nonetheless, immigration kind of led us to the democratic experiment that we are today. And I think we live in an age of hyper-tribalism. We live in an age of, I think racism is on, it's having a streak right now. Not that it ever necessarily sleeps. Racism never sleeps. It is always amidst us. But I would say it's, it's trendy right now. I mean, even the alt-right got their new haircuts. So, yeah, I would say we're at a pretty xenophobic, overtly nationalistic time. On many levels, right? On the far right, that are literal neo-Nazis are having a run, and white supremacy is kind of happening right now. Now here's my theory on all that to touch up a little bit. White supremacy has always been around, obviously. So is racism. So is neo-Nazis. But these movements are inherently cowardly. Why? Because their entire ideology is built upon fear of people that look differently than they do. That's inherently cowardly. So what do they need to feel empowered and to crawl out of the woodwork? They need a figurehead, which they have in Donald Trump. That's just the reality. So that's why something like that is spiking right now. Similarly, over on the faux left, we have a bunch of xenophobia going on towards Russia. Why? Because the corporatocracy wants to retain their control. They need a scapegoat to do it. And it also avoids the corporate Democrats from looking from within. So yeah, I'm not surprised that the immigration agency did this. It's not surprising at all. That's the age we're living in right now. And it's very problematic. And I think we're really trying to ignore what's really going on. Am I married or single? Talk about a transition. I have a girlfriend who I'm going to be moving in with in a month. Huh? How about that? So, but I'm not married. We're not married. We're going to be living in sin. All right. You guys both sent some stuff. So let's go over to net neutrality. Senate Democrats have a plan to save net neutrality. All right. Last Thursday. All right. So they reversed net neutrality last Thursday. Not all is lost. Whenever an agency publishes a new rule, it sets in motion a countdown clock of 60 legislative days. So that means the movement is now to save the internet. Senate Democrats are proposing to undo the FCC's wrong-headed rule through a process set up by the Congressional Review Act. It requires 60 votes in order to move forward. A CRA can be passed with the support of just 51 senators, and any group of 30 of them can force the Senate to consider it. CRA resolutions allow Congress to overturn the FCC's ruling. All 49 senators in the Democratic caucus are united in support of it. So they just need one more vote, and that one vote must come from the ranks of Republicans. So that's why one more vote is trending on Twitter now. So one more vote is trending on Twitter because of what the FCC, net neutrality was repealed. We're not going to see any effects of it until April 23rd. In the meantime, there's 60 days for the CRA to go through. Now, that, of course, is not going to be the easiest task in the world. Donald Trump's got to sign off on it. However, what other ways are we fighting to restore net neutrality? State laws. We got some state laws here in California. Other states are doing similar things. Montana passed theirs. New York's got something. Vermont. So state laws can protect state net neutrality on the state level. Now, the other permanent fix for all this, which is something I'm fighting for here in my community in Pasadena, is municipal broadband internet. Have the internet become a public utility that's kind of just issued out the same way you get water, the same way you get power, the same way you get gas. Have internet be another utility for the people. Chattanooga did this years ago. They enjoy the fastest internet in the country at a reasonable price. Same with Sandy, Oregon. Places, Longmont, Colorado just got it. Fort Collins, Colorado is working on it. And some of these communities had to get through some corporate red tape to get there, but they got there. Pushing for it in Pasadena. Some of you guys know I showed up at City Hall. Some of you guys have emailed me asking for the transcript that I said at my City Hall, which I've been providing. If you email me, I will get that to you. If you want to go to your town hall and you want to plead for municipal broadband in your community, and you want my transcript to help out, you don't need it. You can totally write your own. Like, you know, I don't have some like golden ticket as far as writing a 3-minute statement, but you can, I will send you mine. No problem. Thanks, man. I got some coffee, and my coffee mug says Cat Dad on it. So, and this goes on to talk about how it's pretty much a partisan issue. The contrast between the two parties on this issue couldn't be clearer. Democrats are fighting for consumers and working people, while Republicans are fighting for their campaign donors, the big corporations. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of big corporations that favor net neutrality too, because it favors their business model. And those types of big conglomerates are more likely to give money to Democrats. Places like Google, places like Netflix, you know, your kind of Silicon Valley latte liberals, if you will. So, you know, let's not make it out. It's good that on this, I mean, Chuck Schumer, this is a fun little, this is a fun fact here. Chuck Schumer recently retweeted a Jimmy Dore Show video that we did on net neutrality. Chuck Schumer retweeted it. So the fun thing is there are some unlikely allies in this fight for net neutrality. Now, the ironic part of Cappuccino Conservatives, Marcus points out, I love it. The ironic part, in the video that Chuck Schumer retweeted out, and you can check this out on Twitter, if you haven't watched the Jimmy Dore Show video, it's our latest one on net neutrality. In the video, I actually say, guys, I know we have some unlikely allies in this fight for net neutrality. Don't let that distract you from how important it really is. We have some unlikely allies here. We can disagree with each other the other 364 days a year. This is the one day where we got to work with every ally we got on net neutrality, even if it is a corporate Democrat, even if it is Silicon Valley, even if it doesn't matter. And yes, they don't want net neutrality because it helps consumers, because it helps media democracy. They want net neutrality because it helps their bottom line and their business plan. That's all. Yes, we know that. But that doesn't mean that net neutrality isn't super important. It is. So anyway, yeah, it's ironic that I was saying all that in this video, that an unlikely ally in this fight, i.e. Chuck Schumer, retweeted. Kate asks, regarding Pasadena, what happens next? They are supposed to get it on a municipal agenda at the end of March or early April. I've been in touch with a couple city council people who, you know, I'm not trying to get overly optimistic, but they have been responsive to me. They've responded to my emails. They seem kind of responsive. If you consider Schumer an ally, you are delusional. He is simply pandering to popular sentiment. Yes, he is. Again, I said unlikely ally in the fight for net neutrality, i.e. one issue and one fight. Sorry, I did like one. So when it comes to net neutrality, yes, he is an unlikely ally. Does that mean he's an ally of the progressive movement? Absolutely not. He is a roadblock to it. I know that. So, you know, why don't you quote me accurately if you're going to disagree with me? But thank you for your thoughts, Garden Gnome. I appreciate it. Jimmy Ron 2020. I appreciate that sentiment, but I am not qualified. And unlike most of the people that run, I realize I'm not qualified. Don't put words in Ron's mouth. It's okay. I'm just, you know, actually, truth be told, because Chuck Schumer retweeted a video I was in, all is forgiven. I'm kidding. I did say that, though, as a joke. Also, Jesse points out you can't run at 27. And for anyone that doesn't know, I have been the age of 27 since 1933. Consumer Reports emailed telling people to contact their senators. Yeah, and honestly, when it comes to this, we have to try everything. And yes, that does mean appreciating your unlikely allies in this fight. Underline the "in this fight" part. So we got to try the CRA. We got to try state laws. We got to try suing the FCC. Go to freepress.net to learn more about those efforts. And of course, the big permanent fix, municipal broadband all across the freaking country. We got to try all of them. Why? Because the free and open internet is that freaking important. Guess what? None of us would be doing this right now if we didn't have a free and open internet. And yeah, you don't think they're going to go like, they're going to go after, they're already going after independent content providers. Every other day, it's a different story for me as to what's going on with the monetization on my channel. And I just roll with it at this point. I'm just rolling with it. And the thing that sucks about it is that the people that help me out are grossly underpaid, because I just share what I can with them. They're basically volunteers that I refuse to not give something to. So, you know, when things change, you know, what little help I'm able to give to them kind of becomes null and moot, which really sucks. They have charged an issue professor here for basically helping immigrants with water bottles. They're going after him because a secret video of them busting water bottles went viral. I'm not sure what this is. They have charged an issue professor here for basically with water bottles. They're going because his secret video of them busting water bottles went viral. He busted the water bottles? What do you mean? I know we covered a story where there was a group that was giving water to immigrants, and they were threatened with punishment for it. This is a border thing. But what do you mean busting? You mean like they were giving out water bottles? Was the busting? Oh, here you go. You tweeted an article. Instead of asking questions, I should just go to the article. Thank you, Lenny. And Lenny, it looks like you're running for something. So let me give this a Get Your News On With Ron retweet. I think I just liked a depressing article, but, you know, people know the context. Okay, so I think we covered this story some before. Border Patrol arrest ASU instructor who gave food and water to immigrants. A volunteer group that offers aid to immigrants, I think we talked about this group before, that was crossing the desert has been arrested in southern Arizona. This gentleman was also an instructor for Arizona State University. The arrest of Scott Daniel Warren on a federal harboring charge came several hours after the group No More Deaths released videos last week showing some Border Patrol agents kicking over water bottles. Oh, okay, I get it. So now your tweet makes sense to me. These patrol agents were destroying the water. That's great. That's great. In a country that has water shortages all the time, especially in California, Arizona, kick over water that's intended for other human beings. Our tax dollars pay for that, by the way. That's your tax dollars at work. Kicking over water meant for other human beings. And people still call them illegal aliens. I mean, I thought that, like, that went away a long time ago. I thought that Dennis Kucinich in 2008, who, by the way, was the only peace candidate in the Democratic Party at the time, they outed him as quick as they could. And also, by the way, full disclaimer, was the first politician I ever got excited about in my lifetime. Dennis freaking Kucinich. That's why when Obama won in 08, like, yeah, I was happy about it because we had just had 8 years of Bush. But, like, everybody was, like, hugging me and stuff. And they were like, we know this means the world to you. And I was like, I'm happy, but this isn't even the dude I was behind out the gate. I was a Kucinich guy. But anyway, we don't need to revisit all that. He, on the debate stage in 08, Dennis Kucinich was the one that said there's no such thing as an illegal human being. And yet we still say that. And you know what, Mr. Warren, I hope everything goes okay for you, and I wish there was some way I could help you. I doubt you'll see this video, but I wish there was some way I could help you. And I'll tell you what, May 9th, I'm going to be at the Tempe Improv in Tempe, Arizona. Please, if you would like to, come to the show as my guest. If you somehow see this video and you'd like to come, please come as my guest. I know that's not much. You might not even enjoy live comedy, and you might be like, wow, thanks a lot, Dick. But that's the only thing I can do to help you that I can think of as far as Arizona. So please, May 9th, I will be at the Tempe Improv with Graham Elwood, another great political comedian. And so if you'd like to go, please come as a guest of ours. I didn't run it by Graham, but I can guarantee you he'll be in favor of it too. So And, you +1. Of course, you can bring a date or whatever. And we'll even give you a shout out at the show because I think what you did is very brave. It's very heroic. And how terrible is it that that's what any agent employed as Border Patrol or anything else, that's what they spend their time doing, arresting people that are giving human beings food and water. And are exposing the fact that they're wasting water for no flipping reason. So that really sucks. That really sucks. And Amudi points out, you also have people getting arrested for feeding the homeless, which, yeah, that does happen. Pat, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Joe and Pasta say thank you as well. Where are we going to dinner tonight? I don't know. That's Pasta asking that. Man, you're the event planner, my man. And yeah, you have people that get arrested for feeding the homeless. That's a good point as well. So thank you for sharing that article, Lenny. God, that just sucks. It's just such a waste of resources. It's such a waste of resources. It's such a waste of money. I mean, it's just, just gross. But hopefully that guy gets out soon. I mean, the fact that this is getting press attention is a good thing because now, like, the public, like, there's going to be some public pressure to drop the charges on this guy, and I hope they do it. And I hope that I see him May 9th and I can shake his hand. I really do. Marcus points out that it's National Pancake Day, which it is. I noticed that was trending on Twitter too. Happy National Pancake Day, one and all. I didn't do anything for it. For breakfast this morning, I just kind of nibbled on some cereal that my girlfriend bought. She buys this cereal that's for grown-ups. I'm not a big fan of grown-up cereal. It's just like, it's just cereal. It's like, I call it durable food, but that's not what it actually is. It is, in fact, cereal. And it's like, it's high in fiber and whatever else. So I do that. And it's kind of funny. Now that we're moving in together in a month, it will be kind of humorous when we go shopping together because we'll each buy our cereal. And she'll buy fiber cereal for grown-ups. Yes, it's Kashi. Kimmy points out Kashi. Yes. Is that how you say it? That's the cereal she buys. Sometimes she buys the cinnamon stuff that actually tastes like something. Other times it's just the nothing. So when we go shopping together, it'll be interesting because she'll buy Kashi and I'll buy Captain Crunch or Cinnamon Toast Crave. I like Crave, which this is not cereal, ladies and gentlemen. This is candy disguised as cereal. This is candy, so people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's candy." This is breakfast. This is okay. Ron, do you also play harmonica? No, I don't. I've tried to. Marcus also likes Captain Crunch. Yeah, I freaking love Captain Crunch, man. It's so good. Except it kind of cuts the roof of your mouth. That's the only thing I don't like about it. Super Sugar Crisp. I've never had that. Let me open up the... Sorry, I accidentally closed out of the Reddit. Let me get back to it. If you have not sent an article yet, please do not send one because we are already behind and we are midway through. We are midway through the show already. All right, so this is from Lay. Bernie Sanders' son Levi is running for Congress. So let's learn a little bit about it. I think he goes by Levy, actually. I think it's Levy Sanders. But I'll just say both so that I can't be wrong technically. Or I'm just wrong both ways. All right. We'll go with Levy. I want to say it's Levy. Bernie Sanders' son Levy is running for Congress. This is from the Huffington Post. Like his pop, he says he's fighting for the working class. Levy Sanders, son of Bernie, announced on Monday that he's running for Congress in New Hampshire. He's 48 years old. He's the 8th Democrat throwing his hat into the ring for the state's 1st District House seat. However, he's got a little bit of name wreck, does he not? After much thought and consultation with my family, this is a quote from him, friends, and the people of New Hampshire, I am excited to announce today that I am running for Congress. So here's what he's running on: Medicare for all, healthcare, a higher minimum wage, equal pay for women, tuition-free college, and sensible gun legislation. Oh, snap. Get him on your show, Joe says. Pasta, did you hear that? Levy Sanders. We're going to talk to Levy. And then after we do a show with Levy, we're going to be like, so tell your dad how much fun you had. Hey, Pops, you know where I had the most fun I've ever had on a show called Get Your News On with Ron. It's kind of weird. It's like a stream, and the viewers ask you shit. They just ask you stuff, and it can range from whatever. You got to do it, Pops. That's what Levy should say. So Joe put the wheels in motion. Pasta, if you received the message, let's try to get Levy or Levi on the show. My first question would be, is it Levy or Levi? And he'd be like, dude, it's Levy. I'm not Jeans. What's your problem? But I think we're friends on Facebook. And yeah, I'm happy to see this. It's nice that it looks like the apple didn't fall far from the tree in this case. Like you look at Ron Paul and you look at Rand Paul, and Ron Paul was like, the tree was still kind of in Crazyville, but then the apple fell and it went right into the heart of Crazyville. Ron Paul's tree was like, we're sort of on the outskirts here of Crazyville. Like we have some things where you're like, I could listen to this guy. There's a lot of, I would vote for Ron Paul over a lot of corporate Democrats. There's a lot of corporate Democrats where if I had to choose between them and Ron Paul, I would choose Ron Paul. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I would choose Ron Paul. But Rand went all the way into, I mean, Rand Paul is pretty much, that dude is insane. Like that dude, like on certain issues, like non-interventionism, you're like, oh, we're on exactly the same page. You want to end the wars and invest the money back home too. And then they're like, no, I don't want to invest the money back home. I just want to deregulate everything. And you should have an Uber app to get a doctor. And you're like, oh shit, that's fucking batshit crazy. That is batshit crazy. Ron Paul was crazy pants, but I like that he was there. I agree with you, Jesse. My husband introduced me to Ron Paul. Kimmy points out. You know, again, there's certain things he says that you're going to be like, yeah, that's right on. Then he'll keep talking and you'll be like, oh, fuck. The oh, fuck moment just happens way sooner with Rand. But it looks like Levi and Bernie are much closer. And hopefully they both do the show very freaking soon. Right? Right. All right. Let's see where we're going. We got a lot going on the stream. And I know you guys have tweeted some more articles. So let's see where we're at. Bear with me for a second as I scroll. My interview with Harriet Fradd, Occupy, Depression, and Capitalism. This is from Shalise. So let's see. Is this your interview, Shalise? Like you conducted this? Oh, no, that's the title of the article. It's written by Kat Waters from the Democracy Chronicles. I sat down in person with Dr. Harriet Fradd, who works with the Marxian economist Richard D. Wolff, on Tuesday to discuss the conditions like depression that author and journalist Joanne Harry recently illustrated in his new book, Lost Connections. So she's a mental health counselor and hypnotherapist in practice in New York City. She is a founding member of the feminist movement and the journal Rethinking Marxism. For 40 years, she has been a radical committed to transforming U.S. and personal life. I'm not familiar with this woman's work, but I hope that her book is available for me to stream online. That's been my new thing, by the way. Quick aside before we go into the article. I have been streaming audiobooks while I work out. I just finished, I did War is a Racket. I actually did a bunch of you brought up Richard Wolff is in this article. There's a bunch of Richard Wolff lectures, and I've been streaming a bunch of those. So I've been streaming a bunch of Richard Wolff lectures. Vegan, real quick, Vegan Marine asked, are you going to be in Austin? Hell yeah, I'm going to be in Austin. I'm going to be in Austin March 25th with the live Jimmy Dore show at the Stateside Theater. I don't know why I did a Southern thing there. I'm sorry. But yeah, I will definitely be in Austin. I do it via YouTube, Kimmy. I just do it via YouTube. You can listen to a lot of full audio books via YouTube. There's a ton of Richard Wolff lectures on YouTube, and it's not like just like somebody with a shaky camera, like it's like high quality. You can hear everything, and I don't need to see them. I just want to listen, because I'm like on an exercise bike or whatever else. And I've been doing that a lot. All right, so let's get into this. Dr. Fraud talked about the significance of Occupy Wall Street. She talked about the Emperor's New Drug exploding the antidepressant myth. She also talked about England is more sophisticated than we are. She did a study on loneliness in England and created the Minister of Loneliness. We talked about that. Capitalism comes in and sells people drugs. All right, so here's her quote on capitalism. Then capitalism comes in and it sells people drugs, weapons, testosterone cream because men no longer have family wages that allow them to be served by women. Capitalism creates the disaster and then sells things to deal with it that don't deal with it. Interesting. So yeah, I don't know anything about this woman. This is my first exposure to her. I have a feeling I might agree with some of what she says and not all of what she says. Like most intellectuals, I agree with some of what they're about. I don't agree with everything that what they're about, but I'm just kind of doing a skimming the surface here. Rethinking Marxism. So yeah, I'll have to check this out. Thank you for sharing it. She is pro-Occupy, anti-capitalism, which I can get behind all that. Here's her quote on Occupy. The 99% and the 1%, people started to say no. It was a national effort to crush that movement. They changed the discourse and the language to discuss racism and sexism, but never class. Never why are some people so rich and other people are so poor. We discussed the blatant rigging of the system and how companies outsource jobs to cheap labor overseas. Donald Trump's Make America Great Again hats are made in China. So I would say that's the biggest success of Occupy, is the fact that we're finally looking in terms of the 1% and the 99%. And I would say that was hyper amplified by what's going on now, by the fact that we're realizing that we're really divided. We're not divided by Republicans and Democrats. We're not divided by the heartland and the coasts. We're not divided by the creatives and everybody else. We're divided by the haves and the have-nots. At the end of the day, that's really how we're divided. And Occupy, which I think Dr. Fraud kind of points this out, but also talks about, like, it seems like she's hinting they didn't go far enough when it came to classism, which, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But either way, they initiated something, I would argue. And now we're starting to think through those lenses. And I think dividing the working class against each other was evil brilliance. Jesse points that out. I totally agree with you. And that's kind of what Trump did, and not just Trump. I mean, and that's what the corporate Democrats are doing. When they wag their finger at progressives, that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to turn people that are really on the same side of the fence, that are getting screwed over by the same system. They're trying to turn them against each other. And we need to not let it work. We're divided by the haves and the have-nots. That's really, at the end of the day, that's where the dust settles. And, I don't know much about this woman's work, but I'm intrigued to learn more about it. And Shalise, thank you for introducing me to her. And I'll have to look into more. All right, let's see what else we got. This is from the Natural Progressive. And this is another Bear's Ear issue. New documents reveal Utah Representative Mike Knowles' land carved out in Trump's monuments reduction. So we talked about this a while ago, and I'm just going by my memory. So this is a little foggy. And by the way, for anybody that's watching this clip and doesn't know what this show is or how it works, people tweet me articles, and that's how we do the show. This is like a viewer-curated streaming news show in real time. So if you're like watching a clip and you've never seen one before, and you're like, why didn't you have that article in the first place? Why weren't you better prepared? Because it was tweeted to me in real time. That's how we do things here. I don't prepare in advance. And that's the premise of the show. So if you don't watch it by the stream, it's a little different, but that's the answer to your question. So I just saved you a YouTube comment. Knoll failed to disclose land holdings directly implicated in controversial presidential monuments review. Newly released documents reveal that Utah representative failed to disclose land ownership within the national monument, and subsequently that he potentially abused his position. Why? To enrich himself and his family. So Trump wanted to attack personal lands or excuse me, protected public lands, and this guy had a financial stake within it. And we talked about this. They unrolled or they rolled back a protection that protected a lot of these natural lands, protected a lot of the natural views, and they rolled a lot of that back in favor of development onto those lands, and I think different resource extraction. And apparently this representative also had some land ownership, and the company that he's been collaborating with owns $101.2 million in land, including a 40-acre inholding that's in this national monument. How can you own land in a national monument? I guess if the property you owns falls within it. That's a good question, Kate, because honestly, I didn't know the answer to that until right now. But this company, Knoll Properties, and a lot of this information has not been disclosed, but one thing we know is that they own $1.29 million in land, and that includes a 40-acre inholding in this national monument that Trump rolled back the protections on. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know that was possible, but apparently it is. These corporations have pretty much unlimited amounts of money and resources, so I'd imagine any loophole that exists, they know how to exploit it. So that's just corruption 101. I'm going to sign off on this policy because I have financial incentive to sign off on this policy. That's an example of the government working actively against the people and working solely for themselves. All right, let's see. Donated land may have rights of ways for families donating. Yeah, that's a good point too. I know you guys sent more stuff, but I'm kind of like... All right, we are almost out of time, so let me... Ouch. This is submitted on the Reddit. Okay, this is kind of a funny one. This was submitted by... wait, who submitted this one? This was submitted by Cedric, and their disclaimer just says, ouch. All right, so we got ouch. What's the article? Apple employees can't stop walking into the beautiful glass doors at the new Apple Park campus. First world problems. It turns out when a company loves glass buildings and also creates devices for hours of addictive personal use, sometimes it ends up with injured employees who are too distracted by the products to notice walls. A report from MarketWatch today details how the company has had to call emergency services, to assist multiple employees who can't help but accidentally walk into glass walls. The new Apple Park campus was slated to open last year, but many employees only began moving into the building early this year. The irony is delicious that Apple employees were too glued to their iPhones to notice the harm they're bringing upon themselves. So people were so into their phones that they would walk into glass walls. So this article is kind of funny and also kind of insanely depressing. You know what's so weird to me? And granted, this is coming from a guy. I have not had a conventional day job in years. It's been almost a decade, and I hope to never have one again ever in my life. Because why? I mean, why? Like I just and I know for some people it works. For me, it never did. And I've been lucky that I've been able to, just be creative for a living. But here's the thing. Our corporate work culture is so Orwellian and creepy. And I mean, so why instead are they just like, oh, we got to do something about these glass doors? People keep walking into them all willy nilly. Why aren't they looking at the fact like you guys are so addicted to these devices and you're working so hard making the next little upgrade that you walk into shit? Same with like, I never understood the workplace related injuries where instead of examining our work culture and being like, gee, other countries, most other countries that have the wealth that we do not work the way we do. Most don't. I think it's like us, Japan, and like China, I think, like, and maybe one or two other places. Like all European countries, their work culture is way less brutal than ours. Canada, list goes on and on. And they work, like people. I mean, like I hear people in the States sometimes being like, well, they have no work ethic over in Europe. No, that's actually a gross racist thing to say. They totally work and they work hard, but they have a way better work-life balance than we do. Way freaking better. Way better. And I love how instead of, and this is again, here's another symptom of capitalism to call back to what Shalai said in, and just a big picture thing here. What capitalism does is they try to throw money at a problem. They throw a product at a problem. We have a problem. What can we make and profit off of to solve it? Not what's an actual solution that may or may not involve a product, but what can we throw at to solve this? So instead of saying, oh, people are getting injuries because they're sitting for so freaking long at an office, staring at a screen, looking at numbers that in the long run probably don't matter, being underpaid and underappreciated for a boss that doesn't give a shit about them. Instead of saying, hey, maybe we should do something like that. Like, hey, I don't know. Here's some solution you guys are throwing in that are great. A 28-hour work week, a minimum of 4 weeks vacation. Why don't we do that? Other countries have it. What makes them so special? We can do it here. We just choose not to. Instead, we want to fuck over workers harder by having bullshit like right to work. So anyway, instead of visiting our work culture and seeing, hey, this is fucked up, we got to do something about it. Why don't we have like an optional walkabout, like an optional 15-minute walkabout every 2 hours? People are actually more productive when you do shit like that, by the way. If you fucking get up and move, a lot of studies show you're actually more productive when you sit back down to work. But instead of doing that, we make fucking different types of desks and different products. It's so dumb. It's so gross and Orwellian. And the nightmare's already upon us. It's already, I mean, corporate culture, if you work for a big corporation, it is so disgusting. They encourage dog eat dog. They encourage fucking over your peers. They encourage homogenize. If you don't think for yourself, you'll get further. Yeah, I mean, Forever Voting Third Party points out a clip that was really popular recently. This woman said something. George W. Bush was there. She said, like, oh, I work 3 different jobs. And he said, oh, isn't that uniquely American? He celebrated that a woman had to work 3 jobs to survive. We celebrate that here. How fucked up is that? It's so gross. It's so gross. And for anyone that works in a place like that because you got to pay your bills, I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to come down on you. But man, it's just amazing how hard we're getting screwed. In capitalist America, lifeless working drone be you. Exactly. Rachel points that out. All right. We got time for one more. So we gotta close out strong here. You're the only comedian I've seen who turns a funny story into a serious rant. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not, but I guess I technically did just do that. So I can't argue with you. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, I guess it did just kind of happen. And is it really that funny of a story? They're walking into walls because they're on their phone. Like that's but yeah, I feel you. I guess it was kind of funny. It was meant to be a light thing, and I kind of like went the other way with it. So here we go. This is from DC. Arctic warming. Scientists are alarmed by crazy, quote unquote, temperature rises. It's almost like something's going on. It's almost like something's going on. An alarming heat wave in the sunless winter Arctic is causing blizzards in Europe and forcing scientists to reconsider even their most pessimistic forecasts of climate change. Sleep tight. Which, by the way, that's funny. Rome got snow for the first time in a while. I don't know if you saw those pictures, but Rome over in Italy, they got snow for the first time in a while. It did look kind of cool, admittedly, but it also means that some really fucked up shit's happening with the planet. It was neat to see the snow on the Colosseum, but holy fuck, we got to do something about climate change, you know? All right, so although it could yet prove to be a freak event, the primary concern is that global warming is eroding the polar vortex, the powerful winds that once insulated the frozen north. That means we get more extreme precipitation. So whenever you see a big snowstorm and somebody's like, where are you now, global warming? It's like, no, actually, that's all part of it. It doesn't just mean, yeah, okay. You guys know that already. I'm preaching to the choir. So this is an anomaly among anomalies. It is far enough outside the historical range that it is worrying. It is a suggestion that there are further surprises in store as we continue to poke the angry beast that is our climate. Yeah, we're messing with Mother Earth. We are basically a walking virus. And yes, we are contributing to global warming. We are contributing to climate change. But I think that like a regular virus that a human gets, Mother Nature's going to shake us off like a bug. It's happening. So this is an anomaly among anomalies. Sorry, I lost my place there. It is a suggestion that there are further surprises in store as we continue to post the Angry Beast. It is our climate. Poke the Angry Beast, excuse me, said Michael Mann, who is the director of the Earth System Science Center at Pennsylvania State University. The Arctic has always been regarded as a bellwether because of the vicious circle that amplify human-caused warming in that particular region, and it is sending out a clear warning. Yeah, and you can see this chart here. We had this huge spike, and it's about 20 degrees Celsius higher than average. So people have been talking about Europe's unusually cold weather, but what they're not talking about is what was likely the cause of this, which is the warming over at the polar vortex. And then there's in this article, there's also an incredibly depressing picture of a polar bear that is starving. Those pictures are so hard to look at. God, you know the pictures I'm talking about. They're so rough to see. So I mean, it's somebody just tweeted me the exact same article. That's interesting. Dwayne just tweeted the exact same article that DC. Dwayne and DC, you guys should be friends. You guys literally tweeted the exact same article. And Forever Voting Third Party points out, yeah, they were sending this message for years now. Al Gore got the message 35 years ago. Was it that long ago that Al Gore started? I mean, I don't know when he initially started with all of his climate change work. I didn't realize it was that long ago, but it very well could have been. But yeah. So near-term human extinction. Yeah, we're heading towards it. I think we got more than 10 years, but but who knows? I mean, scientific consensus evolves. Why? Because they're based on evidence. They're looking for evidence. So guys, I want to end on something a little more lighter. So Usefully Gracious tweeted this. And I think this is a fun article. That'll be a fun conversation. Because this is one of the things where other lefties aren't on the same side as me about this one, and I'm a little surprised. Poll, should the voting age be lowered to 16 or raised to 21? This was taken in the Lehigh Valley. Students who survived the shooting at Stoneman Douglas Park High School Board in Parkland, Florida, attended this rally. In some states, Maryland and California, municipalities have lowered their legal voting ages, allowing 16 and 17-year-olds to participate in town and school board elections. Not everyone agrees young high schoolers are ready for this responsibility. Some say the emotional backlash by students in Florida as evidence the U.S. should repeal the 23rd Amendment and restore the voting age to 21? So because students that... What the fuck? Who says that? So there are some people out there that because students survived a school shooting and are traumatized by it and are speaking out about it and say this is bullshit and something needs to be done, those students that are heroes, by the way, because they're doing that, that's a sign that the voting age should be raised to 21. What type of privileged, out-of-touch fuck are you if you feel that way? These kids, they're getting rattled by something like a school shooting. What a bunch of snowflakes. We can't do anything to protect them. We're not going to do shit about it because our government's bought. So let's up the voting age to 21. They're just too emotionally immature because they're emotional because they just saw a shooting. What planet are you on? And you don't know what I think? Yes, the voting age should be 16. I've felt that way for years, and I still do. And you know, part of the reason I feel that way was because in 2016, I was touring a lot of colleges, and it was an election year. And let me tell you something. These students were passionate about it. They were really passionate. And when I raised their hand, I said, hey, who's all going to go out and vote? All the kids that didn't raise their hand, I was like, well, hey, why aren't you going to vote? They said, because I'm not old enough. But I really wish I could vote because I'm really excited about Bernie Sanders. That's what all of them said. All of them. Political apathy comes in all ages. And political awareness and intuitiveness and desire comes in all ages too. Marcus points out, if you die for your country at 18, then yes, you should be able to vote at 16. Yeah. And I think you should be able to buy a beer at 18 too, by the way. If you can go die for your country, you should be able to buy a beer. That's what I think. And this whole, like, I don't know if they're emotionally ready for it. Do you know how many ignorant people vote? A lot. And you know how many people bother voting at all in this country? Less than frickin' half. Why? Because there's not options on the ballot most of the time. It's not the voters' fault. Our broken system isn't the voters' fault. Low voter turnout isn't the voters' fault. And apathy comes in all ages. There's 16-year-olds that are apathetic as hell. There's 16-year-olds that aren't. There's 30-year-olds that are apathetic as hell. There's 30-year-olds that aren't. There's 65-year-olds that are apathetic as hell. There's 65-year-olds that aren't. And Kate points out that Dylan Radigan said he'd never voted before. Some people don't vote not out of apathy, but out of the fact that they can't participate in such a broken system. I'd imagine that's Dylan's reasoning. I don't know for sure. I never asked the guy. And I do support, and I understand that point of view. Now, I would say, as far as people that never vote because of how broken the system is, I would disagree with that strategy because on local levels, your vote freaking matters. Your vote counts on local levels. If I'm able to get municipal internet on some type of a ballot here in Pasadena, if I'm able to get it on a municipal agenda and nobody shows up saying they want that in their community, it ain't going anywhere. So people freaking matter. And the fact that when I showed up to the city hall the first time, the fact that people came with me, you know, we announced it on the Jimmy Dore show and people showed up with statements prepared. The fact that that happened helped us. It freaking helped. So yeah, you do matter locally. You can say all you want about the system being rigged, and you're right. You can say all you want about superdelegates, about gerrymandering, about voter suppression, about both parties being bought and sold by the same people, and you're freaking right. But you know what? On the local level, you do matter. Despite the flaws, you do freaking matter. Joe was 17 when the 2016 election happened. Joe is now in school for political science. He's an incredibly bright person. He makes the clips on this show possible. If it wasn't for Joe, we wouldn't have any clips. Joe makes the clip one article at a time. He does an excellent job at it. And you know the amount of guidance he gets from me? Nothing. He has full control over all the editing because he doesn't need my help. He does it himself because he knows what to do. And he has to put up with me, who is totally ADD and will just randomly start responding to your chats in the middle of something. He has to deal with all that, and he does. And he does a great job at it. And he says, thank you. You're very welcome, Joe. Thank you. Thank you. So anyway, I'll end on that. So I don't know. I mean, if anyone disagrees, let me know. But I'm 100% voting age should be 16. Most people disagree with it. Even over on the Jimmy Dore show, both Jimmy and Steph disagreed with me. But I think this voting age should be 16. I think that the Revolution song was requested, so I got to do it. You got it, Jesse. All right. So I am pro 16 voting age. If you can drive a car, you should be able to cast a ballot. And we need a revolution in this country, and the young people are essential to that. Also, I'm supposed to tell you guys, Delane Easton is our guest on Friday. Who's Delane Easton? She's running for governor of California, and she's going to be our guest on Friday. Get your questions ready. She couldn't do Wednesday, so I know usually we have our guest on Wednesday. It's going to be Friday this week instead, so get ready for it. And in the meantime, it's time for revolution, and we need those young people for that revolution. Expecting differences is what it means to be insane. Having to choose between more and more is not what it means to play the game. Why does it put your mind at ease to ignore this big disease? Why do you like to sit and pretend when you always know the end? Go tell the BBC, go tell the CIA, it's time for revolution. Go tell the NSA, stop listening to what we say. It's time for revolution. Throwing you a single crumb, it's not what it means to compromise. Some call it strength and rhetoric, I just call it telling lies. When you reach a point of crisis, the status quo, it needs to change. And if you can't understand that truth, well, it's time to get out of the way. Go tell the BBC, go tell the CIA, it's time for revolution. Go tell the DSA, DCNSA, that it's time for revolution. Some will say that love's the answer, and this fool knows that to be true. 'Cause I'm not ready to give up yet, long as it's still a me and you. So I'll tell the BBC, I'll tell the CIA, it's time for revolution. I'll tell the DSA, DPNSA, that it's time for revolution. Get your news on with Ron, just wanna know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron, just wanna know what's going on. Let's hope they don't start World War III. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on with Ron, just wanna know what's going on. Getting our news on today. Yeah, 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 yeah. This has been Get Your News On with Ron. Thank you all very much. I love you. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone, because that's where you tweet me articles. And this is the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. You guys tweet me articles. You guys make this possible. RonPlacone.com. Find out when I'm coming to a city near you. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. If you are so able, help me get a monitor behind me. Help me get new audio equipment. Help me get better lighting. Help me pay my help better. Help me expand this show to 2 hours. Berlin, one of my favorite cities in the world. Berlin, Germany says good evening. Hello, Berlin. Good to see you. I can't wait to see you again. You're one of my favorite towns in the world. Thank you all very much. We do this every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. In the meantime, I love you all very much. Peace.